Pro wrestling has always been quick to embrace new technologies. Broadcast TV, short circuit, cable, pay-per-view, the internet, and most recently, streaming. Wrestling has always adapted to these changes, but with streaming, wrestling has struggled to present something bingeable. But there was one show created specifically with binging it in mind. A show that caught my attention right away. A little show that aired, surprisingly enough, on Amazon Prime back in 2018. This is WrestleSpective, and today we're bringing you the story of Dojo Pro. If you like wrestling the way I like wrestling, then you're always looking for something new, or at least new to you. I'm always looking to find promotions, wrestlers, and concepts I've never seen before, especially when I wasn't a very big fan of what main roster WWE was doing. Thankfully, there was NXT, ROH, and the independents, but it wasn't enough. So back in 2018, it was pretty common for me to check around YouTube and streaming services to see what I could find. Usually I'd find my way to Amazon and check out some of the Memphis stuff on there, or some other Before They Were Stars deal, and that's when I spotted something called Dojo Pro. I'd never heard of it, had no clue where it came from, so I clicked on it. Saw the roster and I was immediately on board. It was a gauntlet-style tournament show. Think Mortal Kombat or WMAC Masters. That's pretty cool. It took place in a studio setting, I like that, it's different. And the winner of the tournament would get a shot at the ROH World Television title? But it didn't appear to be an ROH production. What was this show? How did this all come together? Well, I wanted to find out for this retrospective. And I wanted it ready to go for when Amazon announced that they had picked up the rights to air Raw. I was very wrong about that prediction, but thankfully I'd already made a video to capitalize on the actual announcement. But I still wanted to find out. Interviews to promote the show didn't give much insight into the background of it all. IMDb, however, did give me a bit of a hint. So I reached out to Jushin Thunder Liger's favorite wrestler, one of the busiest guys on the indies and one of the best trainers around today, Cheeseburger, who's credited as a producer. CB answered some of my questions and pointed me towards the main brain behind the show, Logan Seculo. And thankfully Logan was gracious enough to answer my remaining questions. So here's the story of Dojo Pro. Dojo Pro was a wrestling show that aired on Amazon Prime beginning in the summer of 2018. The series collected a roster of some of the best independent names at the time, many of whom have now gone on to become major players on national television. The project was the brainchild of Logan Seculo. Logan is a podcaster, independent film director, and producer. He's also a longtime wrestling fan. Logan had an idea to present wrestling in a way that hadn't been done before. A bingeable wrestling show. By 2017, the way we watch TV had changed drastically in a real short amount of time. The idea of waiting a whole week for a new episode had definitely become passé. People were now setting aside a whole weekend to binge an entire season of shows like Orange is the New Black on Netflix. Logan wanted to find a way to bring that experience to wrestling fans, and do it in a way that could still tell stories and not just have a series of matches. He brought the idea to his production partner Dylan Spears, and they worked out a concept. Inspired by fighting games like Mortal Kombat, they came up with the idea of a ranked ladder system, and the white belt. Seeded 1 through 12, the holder of the white belt would advance through the tournament, climbing the ladder to the finals. At that stage, the final holder of the white belt would challenge the number 1 seed, our Shang Tsung, or Shao Kahn, for the Dojo Pro black belt. I want to take a second to talk about these belts. They're made to look like the tied belt of a gi. I think it's very cool. I checked Reddit while researching to see what other people thought, and the reviews were mixed. Some liked it, some hated it and thought they were pretty ugly. I don't know, is it really worse than this? Or this? Or this? Is it really worse than the Pacific Northwest title? I don't think so. It's different, and I like it. But that's not all the winner would get. The cherry on top would be a guaranteed shot at the ROH World Television title. The champion when the show aired being Punishment Martinez. I wonder what he's up to these days. How the hell did that happen? Well, fairly easily actually. They approached ROH boss Joe Koff and Booker Delirious about working together, having a meeting at a TV taping in Atlanta in 2017. Part of the pitch was the winner getting a shot at the TV title. Koff and Delirious loved the concept and the prize and were immediately on board. But they were going to be totally hands-off. It would be Dojo Pro's show to run. No booking influence by ROH. But Ring of Honor did suggest Cheeseburger be brought on board as a producer to help put some of the matches together. Ring of Honor really was the perfect partner for Dojo Pro. ROH was on, its third renaissance? The New Japan partnership and the incredible popularity of the Bullet Club really helped elevate ROH's profile at the time. So in early 2018, Dojo Pro's creative team of Logan, Dylan Spears, Bart Scott, and Will Haynes started producing the show at a soundstage in Nashville. They brought together a roster of top up-and-coming independent names and one legend. Let's take a look at this amazing roster. Kevin Koo. The tattooed badass striker really found a home in places like Southern Underground Pro, and he's just so fucking cool. Kerry Awful. The Gargoyle is one of my favorites on the indies in the last decade or so. He borrows a lot from Mick Foley and other 80s and 90s brawlers. His promo style especially gives major Cactus Jack vibes.
Is this what you wanted to see? This isn't the face of some quarterback, right? You're not gonna see this on billboards, huh? I deserve love.
And he looks so cool, like something out of a 19th century sideshow. It's perfect for his tag team with Nick Iggy, the Carnies. Cheeseburger. A product of the ROH Dojo, CB with his babyface fire and charisma became one of the most beloved members of the ROH roster at the time. Gunnar Miller. This Tennessee native had spent 4 years working all throughout the South, conquering opponents with his strength and doing so with great confidence. Wheeler Yuta. The baby-faced breakout star of 2017, Yuta was fresh off making a name for himself as a technical wrestling wonder in places like Wrestler's Lab, Chikara, and MLW. Corey Hollis. This NWA and PWX regular is classified by some as a high flyer, but to me he's really more of an old-school brawler, a fighter with great technical prowess. The bad boy Joey Janela. Joey's charisma and willingness to take wild bumps made 2017 a banner year. He'd become a top name for GCW, Beyond, and Combat Zone, while appearing pretty much at every other independent out there. Brandon Cutler. After an extended hiatus, Cutler made his return to pro wrestling in 2018, looking to make an impact in a new wrestling landscape. James Storm. Sorry about your damn luck, rest of the tournament. The Cowboy is here. The former TNA World Champion took up the legend spot in the tournament. I don't think I really need to provide much of a melodramatic introduction. It's James friggin' Storm. Ricky Starks. 2018 would prove to be the year that Ricky Starks took his game to the next level. After traveling internationally with tag partner Aaron Solo, Starks would find great success in AAW and the NWA. Aaron Solo. The former Wrestle Circus Tag Team Champion slowly and steadily built his reputation as a very good worker that could adapt to any style over 8 years before Dojo Pro. Maxwell Jacob Friedman. In 2018, MJF was only 4 years into his career, but had already become a sensation across the country, working for every indie possible and usually as the top heel. He became beloved for his dedication to being the villain, so much so that you never really knew when he was off, if ever. Shane Strickland. Originally from the West Coast, Strickland found a wrestling home in the Northeast, with spots in CZW and XWA. He personifies cool and exudes confidence, which made him in demand across the globe, and even other universes, as he portrayed Killshot in Lucha Underground. Jeff Cobb. A star in New Japan, PWG, and anywhere else he damn well pleases, the Hawaiian Juggernaut has the tourney's #1 seed. He's the man to beat to wear the black belt. I don't want to spoil how everything plays out because there are some genuine surprises throughout the show. You might be able to piece together a couple of things from the clips I'm showing, but I'll try my best. Each episode ranges in runtime from 19 to 30 minutes. They revolve around one match per episode, sometimes two, and also include an angle when appropriate and these great personality profiles. You learn a lot about who the talents are and why they want to win beyond just the thrill of victory and a title shot. The show makes no assumptions that a viewer will have any idea who these guys are. Not everyone is a gigantic dork like me, so these profiles are perfect. For example, here's a clip from Kevin Koo's profile from episode 1.
I grew up in a traditional Korean household. I feel like I had a lot of luck because my friend group was more punk hardcore kids. I got my first tattoo when I was 18, and I actually hid it from my parents for 9 months. And I was just sitting in their living room one day with shorts on, and I see him come up the porch step. I go, well, I guess this is the time to show them. Standing out is what got me here. I'm here to make my mark.
The setting of the matches on the soundstage gives off that old school studio wrestling vibe, which I really enjoy. I also love the banners with the anime caricatures of the wrestlers in the match. It's very cool and not something you see elsewhere. The actual wrestling on the show is very good. It's right up my alley. If you're a fan of the modern day hybrid wrestling style, you'll enjoy this. But that isn't to say that every match is the same. They all have their own story to tell. The 12-episode Season 1 premiered on Amazon Prime June 30th, 2018, with the show ending up on Fight TV at the end of July. Looking at the reviews posted at the time, the response was overwhelmingly positive. Sure, there's a few that didn't like it for whatever reason, but the majority of the people that were finding the show, like myself, were enjoying it. But what about a Season 2? Well, there were early plans for Season 2 to feature the same format, but with tag teams. To me, that sounds like a great idea. Tag matches allow a lot of different stories to be told, especially in the latter format. Logan also had an idea for there to be a Legend season. Imagine the roster that could have been. And if they decided to just use the same singles format, there already was a winner in mind. Someone who Logan said is currently a major star in WWE. I don't know who it is, but put your guesses in the comments. Why didn't it happen? Why were these just ideas instead of a reality? Well, a few things got in the way. Number 1, Logan Sekulo's production partner, Dylan Spears, decided he wasn't interested in putting together a Season 2. Of everyone on the team, it was Logan and Dylan that really understood wrestling, its trends and what was hot. So when Sekulo was left to try to arrange it on his own, it just wasn't as much fun to do. Number 2. In 2019, Amazon changed their compensation structure for streaming content. I don't fully understand it enough to explain, but I'll link to this Variety article in the description. But it doesn't sound very fair to independent creators. The changes meant that Dojo Pro would have to go with a much smaller budget. And lastly, the invention of All Elite Wrestling. When AEW launched in January 2019, they signed everyone that had any sort of momentum on the indies. And WWE picked up a bunch of folks themselves too. This hiring spree left pretty slim pickings for a potential Season 2 in comparison to the stacked roster they had from Season 1. So with all those factors happening almost simultaneously, Logan felt it was best not to move forward with another season. Dojo Pro was a wrestling show that was designed for the viewing habits of the 21st century audience. But it may have been a couple years too early. Imagine if the show had come out right before the COVID-19 pandemic? Maybe it could have been like the wrestling equivalent of Tiger King. Something we all enjoyed together to get through an uncertain time. Was Dojo Pro something that could have taken off if it was given additional seasons to explore concepts and find a larger audience? Maybe. I was absolutely drawn into needing to watch the next episode. But I also understand those who may not think wrestling is something that needs to be binged like so many of our other favorite shows. There is something special about the excitement when it's that day of the week when your favorite wrestling show is on. When I asked Logan Seculo what his favorite moment or memory from Dojo Pro was, he said, "I've been a wrestling fan since I was 11 years old. It was really unbelievable to direct and create these shows. The most fun I have is turning on WWE, AEW, NJPW, and seeing practically the entire roster thriving. It makes me feel like we were right." I think it's safe to say the Dojo Pro team was right. Wheeler Yuta has become a multiple-time ROH Pure Champion, had some shots with New Japan, and of course is the beloved feral child of the Blackpool Combat Club. Ricky Starks has become a breakout star, winning the AEW World Tag Team Championship and the Owen Tournament. He's just so damn good. MJF became the hottest star in the company of the first 4 years. That peaked for now with an incredible title run that saw him go from scumbag to our scumbag. In Swerve Strickland, man, he's become a goddamn superstar. Can't deny anything about him. He's the complete package in my opinion. Promo, presence, in-ring, everything a wrestler needs to have, he's got it. He'd better be world champion by the time this video comes out. Logan added, "I hope our legacy is giving a professional-looking platform for what became the future of wrestling. We lived up to our title and I'm proud of that. I made some unbelievable friends and that was all worth it." And when talking about the show being one and done, he added the classic line of the wrestling business, "Never say never." Dojo Pro gave wrestling fans a new format for some great action with a fantastic roster of hungry talent. So many from that show have gone on to become some of the most decorated and praised wrestlers in the business, especially AEW. I really encourage you to check it out. I'm a big fan, there's a lot to enjoy even if you're a little unsure of the presentation at first. I'm confident you'll come around and have some fun. It's still available on Amazon, Fight TV, and even right here on YouTube. All episodes being available on the Dojo Pro channel. Well, that's the story of Dojo Pro. I can't say thank you enough to Cheeseburger and Logan Seculo for helping me tell the story. So thank you infinity, guys. Have you seen Dojo Pro already? Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments. I'm Scott from WrestleSpective. Watch wrestling, love wrestling. Thanks for watching.